Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel Football Therapy with me, your host Yan. My club is stranger than your club, undoubtedly. Chelsea continue to shock the world with their decisions. Enzo Fernadez staying at the club until he's 49. And Chelsea continue their search for a manager as their season peters out and dissolves into nothingness. Nothing but a bad dream, a disturbing memory. We can look to the future, hopefully. You got people like Gary Neville speaking out on the overlap saying, Chelsea are probably a lot closer than we think to challenging. A manager? Yeah, it's a big one. A goalkeeper and a striker? Is that it? We've got certainly loads of young midfielders on the books coming through, arriving. We've got loads of attacking midfielders. And Cuckoo's arriving. Apparently we do want to sign Joao Felix on a permanent. Got polarising opinions on that from different people. Is Kai Havertz, is he going to be wanted by the future manager? Are we going to sell all our Cobham graduate assets for free monies? Mason Mount, Conor Gallagher, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. A lot of people want Levi Colwill. Hopefully Chelsea are going to keep him. So we'll talk about the Enzo Fernadez extension. We'll talk about also the managerial interviews with Luis Enrique and Julian Nagelsmann. By the way, Luis Enrique, this blew my mind. I heard this on the Football Daily podcast, Sid Lowe, who's like he's English, but he covers Spanish football. Luis Enrique is like his first name, like they're hyphenated, like it's Louis Henry essentially, and his last name is Martinez. So his name's like Louis Henry Martinez, but people just call him Luis Enrique, like his first two hyphenated names. That blew my mind. I just assumed, like many people, Enrique was his last name. Now, I hope that's right, because I'm literally regurgitating what a football expert said. But I can't imagine that's incorrect. Thank you for joining me today. Lots to get into, and I thank you for your clicky likes. Your clicky likes on the video, and you're welcome to subscribe, and should you choose to do so, you should hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby. Right then, let's get this Enzo stuff out of the way first. From Football.London, journalist Sam Hill writes why Chelsea have extended Enzo Fernandez's contract. Enzo Fernandez, who arrived but 3 months ago-ish, Chelsea are said to have activated a clause in Enzo Fernandez's contract to extend his stay at Stamford Bridge by a further year. Britain just got here. The Blues completed a British record transfer deal to sign the Argentina World Cup winner for £106 million from Benfica in the January transfer window. Though, important to note, we only paid like $32 million up front. That gets lost in the wash. I'm not saying it's a great deal. I'm just saying in terms of paying right now, we didn't have to pull the money from our behind. Fernandez completed a move to the Blues on deadline day. What was deadline day? Such drama. It's always deadline day. How did I forget? To the midfield, he's been a good addition to the midfield since his arrival, registering 2 assists and 13 appearances. He's playing CDM. Don't judge the man on assists. Also, when we do sort out our midfield balance and our team moving forwards, I have a feeling he will get more assists, and who knows, maybe the odd goal to boot. He certainly got them in him. The 22-year-old has signed an 8-year contract that would see him stay with the club until 2031. This would see Chelsea pay a huge £106.8 million transfer fee over those 8 years, equating to £12.5 million a year. Here's that word again, baby. Amortization. Splitting up the length, the cost of the contract over the tenure of the deal, whatever the length of the deal. The extension to his deal is by a further year will help the Blues lower that payment by $1.25 million. I guess a year, as it's now spread over 9.5 years. Sorry, but 9.5 year deal, bro. Literally a decade. Literally a decade. How have we convinced this brother to sign for us for a decade? I don't think he's on mental wages either. I guess he must have something in his contract, like if we win stuff, oh boy, lad, you're going to make so much money. Because they've got him on, can't be like crazy. You know, they put Mudryk on 92k a week. Enzo Fernandez was the World Cup winner, best young player of the World Cup. He could have gone to Real Madrid and said, yeah, 300k a week, man. Basic, fam. Or PSG, 350, 400k a week. So what's happening here? What have I missed? Why is the 11th place Chelsea just too darn good to turn down? Is it really the sporting project? This pitch that we hear all the players saying, like, oh, the project. Or is there just some, I mean, come on. Surely they'd get more money elsewhere. 9.5 years. According to Cesar Luis Merlo, Chelsea have activated the clause in Fernandez's contract to extend to June 2032. The year 2032. That just looks like a film should be made about it with like flying cars and aliens. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of number. 2032. Well, the world would still be going by then. That's like a sci-fi film. It isn't. Therefore, the Blues will now be able to immortise. Like, crazy. Because the article goes on, we get the gist. We've spent a lot of money, and we've extended a guy. We signed the guy. Okay, right. 3 months ago, we signed a midfielder on an 8.5-year deal. 3 months ago. We've just done an extension now. Mad. Let me know what you think. Let's move on. Alright, so we are managerless, rudderless, in a sea of disappointment that is this season. And we are looking for a new gaffer. And of course, the two out of work managers in Luis Enrique Martinez and Nagelsmann are the two top leading candidates. There are others, of course, but here are the ones being spoken about. Enrique is desperate for a job in England. He once interviewed, the last time he's interviewed since the World Cup in Gijón, Spanish place. He said, he really wants a job in England. He wants a top club job in England, and apparently his English is serviceable. There's concerns of whether he could assert his gregarious and authoritative character through his not perfect English. Like, do you know what I mean? How can he be Luis Enrique Martinez through this good but limited English? That's a concern. But I guess that's a concern for all managers. That's like, what's his name? Good evening, Emery at Arsenal. He's a good manager, but I think maybe he couldn't assert himself. Maybe he's a bit better at Villa now, but he's a good manager. Anyway, I'm going to read an article from the Mirror from a chap called Felix Keefe to talk about Nagelsmann, because he's been invited for this next interview. Now, just call him Luis Enrique. The meme is dead. Luis Enrique has already interviewed with Chelsea, which was ruddy quick, wasn't it? And reportedly, he presented a really impressive dossier to the Chelsea owners, board, sporting director gang, the whole gang. And not only was he shown how he wants to play, he presented plans for each of the Chelsea players. Now, Nagelsmann probably hasn't had time to do this. Apparently he's really upset because the Bayern Munich gig was his dream job, and he did not last long. He's working up to that, and he had his dream job, and he didn't throw in the towel Antonio Conte style. He got sacked. You know what I mean? So he's gutted, and he's still getting paid by Bayern Munich, of course. So should Chelsea try and hire him, they'll look for a compensation package, as they would just do. They'll try and find somewhere in between. Apparently, this fallout between Anthony Barry won't bode well for us in terms of negotiation for Nagelsmann, but who knows, we might still go for Luis Enrique. Chelsea have stepped up their efforts to hire a new manager by inviting Nagelsmann to London to present his ideas for the club, which he would be interested in, even if he's because no one's going to step in now, by the way. These interviews are get in for early pre-season, have a rest, have a cup of tea, mate, go and have some food. Luis Enrique will be emotionally prepared because he's been out of work for a while and he's gagging to get back in the ring. But Nagelsmann will probably need a couple of months to just chill, recalibrate, and, plan for the next season. So, it will be take time. The Blues are hoping to appoint a new long-term manager this summer after sacking Tuchel and Potter just this season. Frank Lampard is currently in charge of the team as caretaker until the end of the campaign, but it's likely to be given the role on a full-time basis. Amen. Chelsea co-owners Todd Boehly and Badad Eghbali, sporting directors Lawrence Stewart and Paul Winstanley, and technical director Christopher Vivell are leading the search for a new boss. So it is the ownership, and it is the sporting directors and football directors and all that. Nagelsmann and Luis Enrique have emerged as the leading contenders for the role. Enrique visited London earlier this month to discuss the job and impress upon the club his thoughts for the future at Chelsea. So yes, like we just said, it's his sort of extensive dossier he presented. Lampard was then appointed until the end of the season and has since taken charge of defeats by Wolves and Real Madrid. Results which have heightened the sense of urgency around the next managerial appointment. The sense of urgency, but for what? They're not going to come in now. I really like, just sense of urgency is in like, oh yeah, we really are bad. Let's make sure we get this right, because the job this new manager has on their hands is like are going to be of biblical difficulty, of proportions. Nagelsmann was sacked by Bayern Munich on March the 24th and replaced by Tuchel amid fractious relationships behind the scenes at the German Giants. Apparently he got shouted at by Mane and didn't respond well, so the lost a bit of respect to the dressing room. Sort of probably went little boy vibes. But Mane's seemingly problematic, dude. He's out here punching people in the face. He's all over the gaff. Good guy, though, in the way he spends his wealth. But maybe combustible around football. But he could be set for a swift return, with Chelsea reaching out to invite him to give him a presentation to the club's executives. The 35-year-old, he's still older than me, has a potential advantage over former Spain and Barcelona and Luis Enrique due to his existing relationship with Vivell. So they work together at Hoffenheim and RB Leipzig and have a good relationship. Also, I am told Nagelsmann's agent is the same as Timo Werner's agent, who of course we've done plenty of business with before, with buying him and then selling him. It's interesting that managers have the same agents as footballers. Didn't know that. Maybe when you're so young and you're like footballer age, you just get a footballer manager. Vivell joined Chelsea as technical director in December after leaving Leipzig, where he worked in the club's recruitment and scouting departments, where he worked with Nagelsmann between 2019 and 2021. Having moved from Hoffenheim, the young manager's first club. Ooh, Chelsea initially compiled a long list of contenders for the managerial position, with Pochettino, not for me, De Zerbi, it's just too much of a friggin' meme, we can't do that. Ruben Amorim, hipster's choice, pretty good. Marco Silva, not for me. Xabi Alonso, where's that come from? Among those who considered. But out of work and duo Enrique and Nagelsmann have since emerged as the leading contenders. Like we've said, both are out of work and have impressive CVs, having worked at the highest level in Spain and Germany, respectively. Enrique has been without a job since stepping down as Spain manager. Of course, they didn't do well in the World Cup. Chelsea need to get the next managerial appointment right, having endured a miserable season. And we'll say that again. We have endured a miserable season. I'm here for you. This is football therapy. You've been through it, man. It's been tough. But it's going to be okay. Due in part to, we're bad, we're 11th in the, we're 17 points of top four. When did we go 17 points off top four? You got these friggin' like journos putting a microphone in front of Lampard going, yeah, you probably can't get Champions League, can you? Or maybe not. Dude, 17 points of top four. Sorry. And facing a difficult task in the second leg of the Champions League against Real Madrid. Boehly's consortium have spent upwards of 550 million on new players. Oh, we haven't heard that before. From Roman, after taking over Roman Abramovich, without much reward. True. Tuchel was sacked in September. Again, I still maintain, and I will die on said hill, of sacking Tuchel was okay. That wasn't the problem. And, maybe hiring Potter too quickly was the issue. Who lasted 7 months. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough out there, man. So, what will this season be remembered for? Spending the most amount of money anyone's ever thought about in football, making PSG, reaching PSG levels. like mad spending, giving literally a decade contract to a World Cup winner, which sounds great. Maybe it is. Sacking 2 managers, having 4 different managers in charge for into different games, and just building a massive recruitment and sporting and football directing team, which again I always wanted. You can't always get what you want, although you do, and it's just terrible. Look, I still have hope. Maintain the faith that moving forwards, all this really is a good idea with good intentions, and we're gonna come good. So let me know what you think. Please do comment. I love reading your comments. It's great fun. So comment down below. Consider liking, sharing, subscribing, doing all those lovely things that help out us sweet, vulnerable content creators. And yeah, hopefully we win a football match one day and all that good stuff happens. Right, take care of yourselves. Peace.